CROATOAN, the mystery of the lost colony.
Silence. There was only the sound of the wind, rustling the leaves, swaying the branches. Nothing else. August 18th, 1590, Roanoke Island, Virginia. John White set foot on land. 3 years later, 3 long, painful years later, he stepped off the ship, stepped onto the sandy shore. His heart was pounding because he knew something was wrong. "Halloo!" he shouted. "Halloo! Anybody here?" No answer. Only the wind, only the waves. 9 men were with him, sailors. They all readied their weapons because they were anxious. "Be careful," White said. "We don't know what we'll find." They walked toward the forest. There was a path, an old path, the path from 3 years ago, the path the colonists had made. But now it was overgrown. Nature had reclaimed it. They walked for 15 minutes, and then they saw it. The palisade, a wooden fence, the protective wall surrounding the settlement. But it was silent. No movement, no sound. White quickened his pace. He was almost running because fear was growing inside him. He reached the gate. It was open, swaying in the wind. He went inside, and he saw empty, completely empty. There were houses, 12 houses, neatly lined up, but the interiors were empty. No belongings, no people, no life. Only silence. White entered the first house. It could have been his daughter's house, Eleanor and Ananias' house. The door was open. The inside was dim, covered in dust. There was a table, but nothing on it. A bed, but empty. The hearth was cold. No fire had burned for months. White fell to his knees. He touched the floor with his hands, as if he would find something there. But there was nothing. Only dust. Only silence. "Eleanor," he whispered. "My baby, where are you?" No answer. Even the walls were silent. They checked the other houses too, all the same, empty, abandoned, yet strangely orderly, as if there had been no panic, as if they hadn't rushed, as if they had planned. But where had they gone?
White looked at the gardens. They had been planted 3 years ago. Corn, squash, beans. But now they were overrun with weeds, unharvested, rotten, mixed into the soil. That meant no one had been there for a long time, maybe 2 years, maybe longer. He checked the church, a small wooden building, cross, Bible shelf, a few benches, but no Bible, no valuables. That meant they had taken them, their important things, while leaving. That was a good sign, maybe, because if there had been an attack, they couldn't have taken them. They couldn't have taken them while escaping. White examined the palisade walls. The wooden fences were strong. Some were rotted, but most stood firm. And there, next to the gate, a post. And on the post, letters, carved by hand, deep, distinct. C-R-O, just 3 letters, incomplete. White ran his finger over the letters, rough, coarse. Had they been carved in a hurry, or left unfinished? He didn't know. Then he looked at the main gate, the main entrance of the palisade, and there he saw it, the full word, larger letters, deeper. CROATOAN. White's heart stopped. His breath caught, because he knew this word. He knew it very well. CROATOAN. It was an island to the south, about 50 miles away, and it was a tribe, Manteo's tribe, a friendly chief, a good man. White had met him in 1585. Manteo had learned English, had even gone to England, met Queen Elizabeth, and had returned to help his people, to maintain their friendship. Maybe the colonists had gone to Croatoan for safety under Manteo's protection. It made sense. It was hopeful. A light sparked within White. Maybe they were still alive. Maybe they were still waiting. But something was missing. White had told them if there was danger, if they had to move, leave a sign, write your name, and draw a cross. The cross would mean danger. But there was no cross here, neither in CRO nor in Croatoan, only the words. That meant there was no danger. That meant they had left voluntarily. That was good. That was very good.
"We will go to Croatoan," White said to the sailors. "They are there, I'm sure. We will find them there." The sailors looked at each other, unsure. But White was certain, because there was no other choice, no other hope. But they did not go to Croatoan. They could not, because the ship's captain, Abraham Koch, refused. "A storm is coming, Mr. White. Our anchor is broken. Dangerous." "But only 50 miles. We can go in a day." "No. First we will go to the West Indies. We will make repairs. We will build our winter shelter. We'll return in spring." "Spring? But that's 6 months away." "I'm sorry. My decision is final." White begged, cried, shouted, but it was no use. Koch was resolute, and the ship was his. The decision was his. White was helpless. On August 19, just one day after arriving at Roanoke, they departed, southward, toward the Caribbean, away from Croatoan, away from answers, away from hope. White stood on deck, looking at Roanoke, shrinking, disappearing, and he knew he would never see it again, neither the island, nor the colony, nor his daughter, nor his grandchild, none of them. A storm hit in the West Indies. The ship was damaged. Koch decided to stay in the Caribbean for the winter. "We'll return to England in spring," he said. "Then maybe we'll go back to Roanoke." But they did not. When they reached England, spring of 1591, there were other priorities, other voyages, other profits. Roanoke was forgotten. The lost colony became just a memory, an insignificant detail. White was left alone with his hopes, his grief, his guilt. But the story hadn't started there. The story had begun much earlier, in 1584, with the dreams of Sir Walter Raleigh. Raleigh was a young, ambitious nobleman. He was Queen Elizabeth's favorite, handsome, intelligent, daring, and he had a dream: to establish an English colony in the New World, to rival Spain, to expand England, and of course, to become rich.
The Queen granted him a charter, permission, the right to claim land in North America. "Go," Elizabeth said, "explore, occupy, in my name." And Raleigh sent ships, the first expedition, in 1584. 2 small ships, under the command of Philip Amatus and Arthur Barlow. They explored the coasts of North Carolina. They found Roanoke Island, beautiful, fertile. The native tribes were friendly. They brought 2 natives to England, Manteo and Wanches, both young, curious. They saw England, its cities, its palaces. They met the Queen. Manteo was impressed. "The English are strong," he said. "Friendship will be good." But Wanches was suspicious. "They are dangerous," he said. "They will take our land." In 1585, a second expedition was sent, this time larger, 7 ships, 600 men. Sir Richard Grenville was in command. Ralph Lane was governor. and John White, painter, cartographer, was also there. They arrived at Roanoke, June 1585. They built a fort, constructed houses, went exploring. John White loved his work. Every day he drew new things. He drew the natives, their clothes, face paint, ceremonies. He drew the plants, corn, tobacco, sunflowers. He drew the animals, deer, bears, fish. His drawings were perfect, detailed, colorful, vibrant. They still exist today in the British Museum, and they still captivate. White loved the natives. He became friends with Manteo. He visited their villages, shared their food, tried to learn their language. And he saw they were human too, different but similar. They formed families, raised children, dreamed. They wanted to live in peace. But Grenville was different, arrogant, harsh. He showed no respect to the natives. And one day, a small incident changed everything. A silver bowl went missing from the village of Aquascagog. The English were guests there, and the next day, the bowl was gone. Grenville was furious. They stole it, he said. They must be punished.
But maybe we lost it, someone said. Maybe we misunderstood. No, they stole it, and they will learn. Grenville attacked the village, burned a house, burned the cornfields. People fled screaming, children cried, and peace was gone. Blood feud began. Wanchese had been right. See, he said to Manteo, they are dangerous. They will destroy us. Manteo was saddened. But not all of them. White is good. Lane is good. Only Grenville is bad. If one is bad, all are bad, because they did not stop him. And Wanchese left, returned to his people, and he told them, the white men are enemies. We must fight. The winter was harsh. 1585, 1586. Food ran low, diseases spread, relations with the natives were poor, attacks occurred, 2 Englishmen were killed, the English retaliated, a chief was killed. The cycle began, revenge, hatred, death. In June 1586, Sir Francis Drake, the famous sailor, stopped at Roanoke. He was coming from the Caribbean. He had plundered Spanish ships, wealthy, successful. He saw Lane and the colonists. "You are in a terrible state," he said. "Do you wish to return home?" Lane hesitated, but his men begged, "Please, let us go. We will die here." And the decision was made. The entire colony, 103 men, returned to England on Drake's ships. Roanoke was left empty, abandoned. The first English colony had failed. But Raleigh did not give up. "We must try again," he said, "but differently, this time with families, permanent settlement, a real colony." And he chose John White. "You will go," he said. "You will be the new governor, because you understand the natives, you show respect, you can succeed." White was honored, but he was also worried because the task was difficult. But he accepted because he believed living in peace was possible. The English and the natives could coexist. April 26th, 1587. Plymouth Harbor. 3 ships were waiting. The Lion, the main ship, a pinnace, a flyboat. 117 people had gathered, 30 women, 17 children,
70 men. From different backgrounds, rich, poor, middle class, but all wanted the same thing: a new beginning, new opportunities, a new life. John White felt the responsibility as governor. He was 53 years old, experienced but not old, still strong and determined. He had 12 assistants with him, called assistants, council members. Ananias Dare, White's son-in-law, was one of them, young, energetic, loyal. Eleanor Dare, White's daughter, was 7 months pregnant, 24 years old, a beautiful, strong woman. "Father," she said, "are you sure? The birth is near. Maybe I should wait." "No, my daughter," White said. "We will go together, as a family. Your child will be born in the new world. Our future is there." Eleanor smiled. She was scared, but excited too, because this was an adventure, a story, something generations would speak of, and she would be there, at the beginning. Other families felt similarly. Thomas and Elizabeth Vickers, Dionysus and Marjorie Harvey, William and Elizabeth Willis. All had children, all had hopes, and they all boarded the same ship, toward the unknown. The journey lasted 6 weeks, long, exhausting. The Atlantic was harsh. Waves were high, winds strong. Some days they couldn't sail. They had to wait. The ships rocked. People got sick. They vomited, groaned. Eleanor struggled the most. The pregnancy was difficult. Nausea, back pain. The ship's movements made it worse. Ananias stayed by her side, always, comforting her, supporting her. "We will endure," he said, "a little longer, then land, then home, then the baby." Eleanor nodded, tried to smile, but it was hard, because she was tired, very tired, and she was afraid. The birth was near, but where would it happen? On the ship? In the water? What if something went wrong? What if the baby? "Shh," Ananias said. "Don't think. Everything will be fine. God will protect us." And Eleanor believed. She had to believe, because there was no other choice. During the journey, one person died, an old man. His heart stopped. He was buried at sea. A simple ceremony, a prayer. The body was let into the water. It sank, disappeared. Everyone was saddened, but they continued because stopping was not an option. On June 22, they reached the Caribbean. They stopped off the coast of Puerto Rico, took fresh water, fruit, vegetables. People went ashore, stretched their legs, felt a bit relieved, but they didn't stay long. Their goal was Virginia, Roanoke. July 4th, 1587. They saw the coast of Virginia, green, beautiful. Forests reached the shore, beaches golden, warm yet refreshing air. "Here," White said, "our home, our new home." But there was a problem. The plan had been for the Chesapeake Bay, further north, better harbor, more land, but the ship's captain, Simon Fernandez, refused. "No, I will drop you at Roanoke, then I leave." But the agreement was Chesapeake. I changed my mind. Roanoke, now. White was angry, but helpless. It was Fernandez's ship, his decision, and arguing was dangerous because Fernandez was harsh, ruthless, quick to use violence. White accepted. "Okay, Roanoke it is, but only temporarily. Then we moved to Chesapeake." On June 22, they landed at Roanoke, on the shore. Excitement, but also worry. because what was left of the colony abandoned in 1586, could it still be used? They walked through the forest on the old path, and they saw it, Fort Lane, the fort of the 1585 colony, but it was ruined, burned. Only a few walls remained. Grass covered it. Nature had reclaimed it.
The natives burned it, someone said, after we left. It doesn't matter, White said. We will rebuild, better, stronger. And they began. Men, women, even children helped. They cut trees, shaped wood, nailed planks, houses, palisade, storehouse, church. Each day it grew a little more. Each day it became a little more real. Eleanor wanted to help, but her pregnancy was very advanced, 8 months, nearly 9. Every movement was difficult. Breathing was hard. Ananias would not allow it. Rest, my love. Take care of the baby. But there is so much work to do. Others will do it. You just rest. Other women accompanied Eleanor. Elizabeth Vickers, Marjorie Harvey, Emma Merimoth. They all sat together, talked, supported each other. It was a difficult time for the pregnant. Births were dangerous, always, but especially in the wild lands. No doctor, no medicine, only experienced women and God's mercy. "Are you afraid?" Elizabeth asked. "Yes," Eleanor answered honestly. "Very. So am I. My first birth. I don't know what will happen. But we have each other. We will help. Yes, together we are strong." July 28th, 6 days after arriving at Roanoke. A man, George Hoe, was killed. He had gone alone to collect crabs to the shore, half a mile away, and he was attacked by the natives. 16 arrows, his head crushed with a stone. They found his body in the water, a horrifying sight. Panic spread. "We are not safe. They will attack. We will all die." White tried to calm them. "Do not panic. We will be careful. We will go in groups. We will carry weapons." But the fear remained, because it was real. The danger was real. White acted immediately. He had to find Manteo, the friendly tribe, CROATOAN. "Let's go," he said to 20 men, "to the CROATOAN village. We will talk." The next day they set out, south, along the coast. It took 2 days, and they arrived at CROATOAN. Manteo greeted them, joyful. "John White, my friend, you have come." "Manteo, I am so happy to see you." They embraced. They were truly friends. They had not seen each other for 3 years, but the bond was still strong. White told him about George Hoe's death. "I know," Manteo said. "I am sorry, but I did not do it. My people did not do it. Others, enemy tribes, they are still angry because of 1585, because of Grenville. I understand, but we are different. We want peace." "I know. You are a good man, White. I trust you. But the other tribes do not. To them, you are also an enemy." "What can I do?" "You must speak, explain. Maybe they will understand." White tried. He sent messages to the other tribes. "Come, let us talk, make peace." But no one came, only silence, and White understood. It was too late. Trust was gone. The only option was to be careful and to hope. August 8th. Manteo was baptized. He became a Christian.
in a small ceremony. Eleanor was there. Ananias was there. It was very meaningful because it built a bridge between two worlds, English and native, Christian and pagan. Manteo was now both, and he was hope. Maybe the others would follow. Maybe peace could be possible. But that night, Eleanor's labor began. The birth, it was time. 9 months complete. The women gathered. Elizabeth, Marjorie, Emma. They were experienced. They had delivered babies before. They knew what to do. Ananias waited outside. The only thing the men could do was wait, pray, and hope. The hours were long. Eleanor groaned in pain. She screamed, sweated, gasped for breath. But she did not give up. She continued, for her baby, for her life, for their future. And finally, just after midnight, August 18, 1587, the baby was born. A girl, small, red, beautiful. She cried with a strong voice, and everyone laughed with joy. They welcomed her. Life, new life in the new world.
"What will her name be?" Elizabeth asked. Eleanor smiled, tired but happy. "Virginia. Her name will be Virginia. The name of this land, the name of our home. Virginia Dare. Beautiful name. Yes, and she will make history. She will be the first English baby born in America." And so she was, Virginia Dare, August 18th, 1587, Roanoke Island. History was made. The little baby did not know it, but she had become a symbol of hope, a symbol of the future, a symbol of the new world. The next day, the baptism ceremony was held. In the small church, White baptized her as grandfather and governor. "I baptize you, Virginia, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit." Water was poured. The baby cried lightly. Then she was quiet, and the ceremony continued. The colony celebrated. Food was prepared. Songs were sung, dances were held, a rare happy moment, because life was hard. But this moment, this one moment was beautiful, hopeful. But reality returned quickly, because there were problems, serious problems. Food was running low, the harvest was not ready, fishing was difficult, and winter was approaching. They had to prepare. The council gathered, White and his 12 assistants. "What should we do?" someone asked. "We need food, supplies, otherwise we won't survive the winter." "We must return to England," another said. "We need help." "But who will go?" White asked. Everyone fell silent, because it was dangerous. The Atlantic was dangerous, especially in the fall. Storms came, and the ship was one way. If it sank, no one would know. No one would help. "I will go," said one man, Chris Cooper, young, brave. "No," White said, "too young." "But I am strong. I can do it." "No, someone else must go." The discussion dragged on, hours, and finally a decision was made. John White would go, as governor, because authority was needed to speak to the Queen, to request help. White objected.
"But I am the governor. I must stay with my people." "No," they said, "you must go because you speak best. You are the most trusted. You can succeed." And White had to accept, but his heart broke because he would leave Eleanor, leave Virginia, his little grandchild, only 9 days old. He had never really known her, and now he was leaving for months, perhaps years. August 27th, 1587, 9 days after Virginia's birth, John White boarded the ship, Lion, the same ship. He would return to England. Eleanor was on the shore, Virginia in her arms, Ananias by her side. White hugged his daughter. "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't want to go, but I must." "I know, Father. I understand. I will return quickly, I promise, in the spring, maybe sooner. We will wait. We will be here." White held Virginia, tiny, fragile, but strong too. She was not crying. She just stared with blue eyes, deep, wise eyes, as if she understood, as if she knew. "I love you, little Virginia," White whispered. "Grandfather loves you very much, and I will come back, I promise." He kissed her forehead, gently, with love, then returned her to Eleanor. "Farewell," he said. "May God protect you, all of you." "You too, Father. Safe journey." And the ship moved, slowly, away from the shore. Roanoke shrank. The people became tiny dots, then disappeared. White stood on deck for a long time, watching the unseen island, the unseen people, and he felt it, fear, deep, cold fear, as if he knew something was wrong, something terrible would happen. But he did not know, he could not know that this would be the last look, the last farewell, because he would never see Eleanor again, never see Virginia again, and he would never see the 115 people, his colony, his people, his family again. But in that moment, he did not know. He only felt, and he hoped he was wrong. They arrived in England in November 1587. It had been a long, stormy journey, but they were safe. White immediately got to work. He found Raleigh, explained the situation. "We need help, food, tools, weapons, and people, more colonists." Raleigh agreed. "Okay, I will prepare. We will depart in the spring." But there was a problem, a big problem. Spain, the Spanish Armada, a huge fleet, 130 ships, 30,000 soldiers, preparing to invade England. Queen Elizabeth mobilized all ships, all men. "Defense is the priority," she said. "The colony will have to wait." "But people are dying there," White said. "I'm sorry, Mr. White, but England is more important. England must survive." White was helpless. He waited. Months passed. 6 months. July 1588. The Spanish Armada arrived. The English fleet met them. A great battle in the Dover Strait, at Plymouth. It lasted days. And the English won. The Spanish ships were defeated, fled to the North Seas. Storms struck, most sank. The Armada was gone. England was saved. But for White, nothing had changed. He still could not go, because there were no ships. They were damaged, repairs were needed, and there was no money. The war had drained England. 1589. A year passed. White pleaded. wrote letters, spoke to everyone. Please, one ship, just one. Finally, Raleigh organized a small fleet, but there was a condition. Pirates would command it. The captains sought profit. First, we take the Spanish ships, they said. Then we go to Roanoke. White agreed. There was no other choice. In March 1589, they set out. But disaster struck. The pirates attacked Spanish ships. A battle broke out. English ships were damaged. Men were injured. White was also wounded, a sword cut to his shoulder. "We must go to Roanoke," he shouted. "That was the agreement." "The damage is too great," said the captain. "We must return to England." "No, please, just a few more days." But the captain did not listen. The ships turned back to England. They arrived in June 1589. White had failed. Again. Another year passed. Eleanor, where was she? Virginia was now 2 years old. Was she walking? Talking? Alive? White did not know. He could not sleep at night. He had dreams, nightmares. Eleanor screaming, Virginia crying, and he so far away, helpless, powerless. At the beginning of 1590, another opportunity arose. John Watts, a wealthy merchant, was organizing a fleet to the Caribbean. "Could we stop at Roanoke?" White asked. "Just a few days, only to check." Watts thought. "Is there profit?" "No, but it is a humanitarian duty." "Humanity does not bring profit, Mr. White. Please, I beg you." Finally, Watts agreed. "Okay, but only a few days, then we leave." White was grateful. "Sufficient. Thank you." On March 20th, 1590, they set out. 3 ships: Hopewell, John Evangelist, Little John. White was on the Hopewell. His heart was full of both joy and fear, because at last he was going. But what would he find? He feared the answer. The Atlantic crossing took 4 months. Slow, tedious. They stopped in the Caribbean, traded, lost time. White grew impatient. "We must hurry." "Calm, Mr. White. We are coming." By mid-August 1590, they neared the Virginia coast. White went on deck, looked. Familiar shores. 3 years later. 3 long, painful years later. Had it changed? It had not. Still green, still beautiful, but silent. Very silent. On August 15th, they anchored near Roanoke, but they could not reach the shore. The weather was bad. Waves were high, dangerous. They waited 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. White went mad. "I must go, now." "Do you want to die?" "I don't care, they are there." Finally, on August 18th, Virginia's 3rd birthday, the weather cleared. White and 9 men boarded the rowboat. They rowed toward the shore. But the waves were still strong. The rowboat capsized. Captain Spicer and 6 men drowned. White almost drowned too, but he held on, survived, was dragged ashore. Wet, tired, but determined, "Forward," he said, "to the colony," and they walked into the forest, along the path. And the moment came, August 18, 1590, afternoon. They saw the palisade, silent, empty. They entered. Houses empty. No people. Nothing left. White searched every house, called out, "Eleanor, Ananias, Virginia, anybody?" Silence. Only the wind answered. He fell to his knees, cried, because he knew they were gone, all of them. Then he saw the word CROATOAN. Hope sparked. "They're there, on CROATOAN. We must go." But the ship's captain, Abraham Cock, refused, as we mentioned before. Storm, damage, time, always excuses. And they did not go. Never went. White returned to England, heartbroken, spirit crushed, and he never returned, because he aged, became ill, ran out of money. In 1593, he wrote one last letter to historian Richard Hakluyt, told the story, his final words, "And I now commit them to God's will. I hope we shall meet them in eternity. Until that time, I wish peace to their souls." He died in 1806 in Ireland, County Cork, alone, forgotten. Never found his daughter, never found his grandchild, never found the 115, and the mystery remained unsolved. So what really happened to those 115 people? Investigations have continued for centuries. Every theory, every piece of evidence, every possibility has been examined, but the definitive answer is still unknown. Now let's look deeper at the theories. Theory 1. Croatoan migration and assimilation. The most plausible theory. The word Croatoan was deliberately left. No crossmark, so no danger. It was a planned migration. Croatoan Island, now Hatteras Island, was the home of a friendly tribe, Manteo's people. A logical choice for the colony, for safety, for food, for friendship. Modern archaeological evidence supports this theory. Excavations were carried out on Hatteras Island from 1998 to 2020. What was found? English gun parts, 1580s period. English sword hilt. English copper pieces for trade. European ceramic shards. Gold ring, English-made. All of these were found at native settlements, mixed together. It seems the English and the natives may have lived together. There is also DNA evidence. The Lumbee tribe, living in North Carolina, claims descent from the Roanoke colonists. Some members carry European genes, blue eyes, light-colored hair, English-like names. Perhaps evidence, perhaps not. In 1709, John Lawson, the explorer, visited the Hatteras region. He wrote a report. Here live natives with gray eyes. Their English includes words like thank you and how are you. They say their ancestors came from Roanoke. Some members carry English names. Could these be the descendants of the Roanoke colonists? Perhaps, but not certain. Theory 2. Migration inland, the Chesapeake tragedy. Another possibility, the colonists did not go to Croatoan. They went inland to the Chesapeake Bay. That was the original plan anyway. Better land, more resources. In 1607, Jamestown was founded, the first successful English colony. Captain John Smith, the famous leader, spoke with the local chief, Powhatan. Powhatan said, "South, in the Chesapeake area, there were white men, long ago. My tribe killed them all. Smith asked, when? He said, in my youth, maybe 15 years ago. 15 years before 1607 equals around 1592, 2 years after Roanoke disappeared. The timing matches. Powhatan continued, they settled in a village, built houses, but they were dangerous, so we attacked, killed them one by one. Could these have been the Roanoke colonists? Perhaps. They went to Chesapeake, lived there 2 years, then were massacred by Powhatan's tribe. No proof, but plausible.
Theory 3. Split colony. Maybe the whole colony did not go to one place. Maybe they split. Some went to Croatoan, some to Chesapeake, some to other places. In 2012, a discovery was made at the British Museum. One of John White's maps was examined. Under a microscope, hidden marks were seen. 2 points, a mark in the Croatoan region, another mark in the Albemarle Sound region, 50 miles west. Were the marks intentional? A secret message? Perhaps White had told the colonists, if you must leave, go to these points. I will mark them on the map. I will find you. And perhaps that's what they did. They split into 2 groups, one to Croatoan, to Manteo, the other to Albemarle for a new settlement. In 2015, excavations were carried out near Albemarle Sound. What was found? English pottery, 16th century, pieces of European ceramics, and a carved stone, English initials. Perhaps a group was there. Perhaps they lived there. Perhaps they died there. Not certain, but possible. Theory 4. Starvation and disease. A darker possibility. They went nowhere. They stayed on Roanoke and slowly died from hunger, from disease, one by one. The autumn of 1587 was harsh. The harvest failed. Fish were scarce. Winter approached. Food was insufficient. Perhaps most did not survive the winter. Spring 1588. The survivors, maybe 50 or 60, decided this place is death. We must leave. They took their valuables. They carved Croatoan and set out. But they were too weak, too sick. They died on the way, in the forest, in the swamps. Their bodies returned to nature. Bones buried by the earth. Traces disappeared. This theory is grim, but possible. Because Virginia was harsh. The natives did not help. Resources were limited. Survival was extremely difficult. Another possibility, the Spanish killed them. Spain claimed the region as its own, La Florida, from modern Florida up to Virginia. The English were intruders. Spanish ships patrolled the coast. They knew Roanoke existed. In 1588, after the Armada's defeat, they might have sought revenge. Perhaps they attacked one night, stormed the colony, killed everyone, destroyed the evidence, dumped the bodies in the sea. But the problem with this theory, no evidence. Spanish records say nothing. Roanoke is never mentioned in their accounts. If they had done it, they would have boasted, but they did not. Probably it didn't happen, but we can't know for sure. Modern science is still searching. DNA tests continue. The Hatteras, Lumbee, and other North Carolina tribes are being tested. Some carry European genes, but no definitive link has been proven. Radar technology is used. Underground scans search for buried structures. In 2020,
a building was found in the Albemarle region. Excavations uncovered English bricks and lead, 16th century English. Perhaps a foundation, perhaps a colony settlement. Excavations continue. Results are pending. But the truth is, perhaps we will never know. Perhaps the mystery will remain forever. And perhaps that is for the best. Absolutely. Roanoke is not just a story of loss, but a story woven with human courage, hope, and resilience. The journey Eleanor Dare made while pregnant, the birth of Virginia, John White's drawings, all of them are memories, bridges. Although Virginia Dare's fate is unknown, her symbol still lives, a symbol of new beginnings, the merging of cultures and human hope. And thanks to John White's drawings, we can still see Roanoke in 1585 to 1587. The villages, the people, the ceremonies, the nature. White did not just record, he documented with respect and love. He told the story of the natives and their world. The tragedy of Roanoke is also a legacy, a lost colony, but its story and memory remain with us. Humanity, hope, and the power of the desire to connect. That is the true treasure of Roanoke. If you want, we can turn this story into a small book or a visualized narrative, creating a flow that summarizes the entire journey of Roanoke from start to finish. Shall we do that? Close your eyes now. Take a deep breath. Lie down comfortably. Think of Roanoke, 1587. A small settlement, wooden houses, people. They work, laugh, live. Eleanor is nursing her baby. Virginia is sleeping, peaceful, innocent. Ananias is chopping wood, building a house, creating a future. John White is drawing a map, using colors, blue, green, brown. He captures Virginia on paper, immortalizes her. The others, 112 people, live their own lives. The farmer plants his crops. The fisherman casts his net. Children play. Women cook. Normal life. Ordinary moments, but precious, very precious, because this is life. Small moments, small joys, small hopes. And one day, maybe 1588, maybe 1589, they make a decision. This place is no longer safe, or we can't endure it anymore. We must leave. Belongings are gathered, precious things are taken, the rest left behind, and a message is carved on a tree, CROATOAN. So Father, if he comes, he will know. He will know where we went. And they walk, 115 people, into the forest, southward, toward hope, toward the future. Maybe they reach their destination. Maybe Manteo welcomes them. Welcome, my friends. Join us. You are with us. And they join the new life, a mixture of native and English. Time passes. Children are born, mixed children, blue-eyed native babies, brown-eyed English babies. Languages blend, traditions blend, and something new is formed, neither fully native nor fully English, but both, a beautiful mix. Or maybe they do not reach it. They get lost on the way, from disease, hunger, attack. One by one, they fall. Eleanor fights bravely. She tries to protect Virginia, but it is too hard, too exhausting. And one day, maybe a morning, maybe a night, she has no strength left. She lies down, holding Virginia tightly, and closes her eyes for the last time.
Virginia is left alone, 3 years old, maybe 4. She cries, "Mother! Mother!" But there is no answer, only silence. Then she hears a sound, footsteps. A native woman approaches. She sees the little girl, a white girl, alone, afraid. Her heart melts because she is a mother, and mothers understand. She embraces Virginia. "Shh, little one, you are safe now. You are with me." And she takes her to her village, to her tribe. They become Virginia's family. The natives become her family. She grows among them as a native girl. She forgets her English origin, but something remains inside her. Blue eyes, fair skin, a mark of difference. She grows, marries, has children, and they have children, from generation to generation. And maybe today, in 2025, a woman lives in North Carolina, an ordinary life, but in her genes, in her DNA, Virginia Dare exists, Eleanor Dare exists, Roanoke exists. She does not know, she will never know, but the connection exists, an invisible thread from the past to the future. Or maybe none of them are right. Maybe something completely different happened. Maybe ships came, unknown ships, pirate ships from the Caribbean, and they kidnapped the colonists, sold them as slaves in Spanish mines, and there they died in unknown places, in nameless graves. Or maybe a natural disaster happened, a hurricane, a terrible storm in the fall of 1589. It destroyed the entire settlement, swept the people into the sea. No trace remained, only the word CROATOAN written before the storm. Or maybe something stranger. Maybe a disease, an unknown disease spread, fast, deadly, killed everyone in days. The survivors, only a few, buried the bodies. Then they fled to escape the infection and wrote CROATOAN, but they never reached it. They died along the way. We don't know. We will never know. Dozens of theories, hundreds of possibilities, but no definite answer. Only mystery. Deep, endless mystery. And maybe that is a beautiful thing, because mystery keeps the imagination alive, sparks curiosity, drives us to search, drives us to think, drives us to feel. Roanoke gives us a lesson, simple but profound. Life is uncertain. The future is not guaranteed. Sometimes people disappear. Sometimes there are no answers. Sometimes there are only questions. But that should not stop us, because those 115 people, Eleanor, Virginia, Ananias, and the others, did not know their future. They did not know what would happen at Roanoke, but they went anyway. They tried anyway. They hoped anyway. They were brave, incredibly brave, to leave the known world, to abandon safety and leap into the unknown, just for imagination, just for faith, just for hope. And this courage is what truly matters, not the outcome, not the answers. Courage, trying, living. John White died in 1606. His last words were recorded in a letter.
his final letter. I submit to God's will. I know I will no longer find them in this world, but I believe we will meet in eternity. Until then, I wish peace to their souls, and I ask God's forgiveness, for I could not protect them. I could not save them. I left them behind. But White was wrong, because he did not leave them behind. He left their memory. He left their stories. And every year, every decade, people talk about Roanoke. They research, they wonder, they remember. Eleanor was not forgotten. Virginia was not forgotten. The 115 people were not forgotten, because the mystery keeps them alive, makes them eternal. Maybe that is enough. Maybe that is the reward, something stronger than death, memory, story, mystery.
Your sleep is approaching. Your eyelids grow heavy. Breaths slow down. The body relaxes. And perhaps in your dream you will see Roanoke, but not the lost Roanoke, the living Roanoke. Roanoke in 1587, full of people, full of sounds, full of life. You see a woman, young, beautiful, her baby in her arms, 2 months old, blue-eyed baby, smiling, singing to her mother, "Hush, little baby, don't you cry." And the baby is calm, peaceful, does not know what the future holds, does not know that one day she will disappear. But now she is happy, now she is safe in her mother's arms. And this moment is enough, because life is made of moments, small, precious moments. Eleanor and Virginia's moment, the moment they are together, the moment they love. This is real. This is valuable. This is forever. And you, in your dream, are watching, quietly, with respect, feeling that bond, mother and baby, love, pure, unconditional love. Then the dream blurs, fades, but the feeling remains. Warm feeling, peaceful feeling. Good night to the lost souls of Roanoke, to Eleanor, to Virginia, to Ananias, to John White, and to those 115 brave people. Good night to those walking into the unknown, to those not seeking answers, to those carrying hope. Good night, and remember, sometimes disappearing is the beginning. Sometimes the end is actually change, and sometimes mystery is truly more beautiful. May your sleep be peaceful. May your dreams be beautiful. And when you wake tomorrow to a new day, think of Roanoke, that courage, that hope, that love. Because we are all a little Roanoke. We walk in the unknown. We live with unanswered questions. But we keep walking, keep hoping, keep loving, keep living. And this continuing is what truly matters. CROATOAN. The mystery endures forever.